angle looks, let's see if you can see it. Pinion angle looks pretty good. I don't know how close it is. I'll have to take it to the alignment shop to have that adjusted, but I've got plenty of thread engagement to adjust the caster, and that will affect the pinion angle, whatever it needs to be. You know, I probably should have made that bracket right there a little bit taller so I could get these absolutely parallel to each other, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. There's no binding moving up and down, so that'll be fine. Right now it's looking pretty good. I've got to, what do I got to do? I don't even remember. What do I have to do? Oh, I've got to make tabs for the coilovers to mount to. I will lower it down a little bit, and any adjustment I want to make, I can make here on top of the coilover. I can move it up or down to adjust the ride height pretty easily. It's not a big deal. Or, you know, I could get a taller coilover because these coilovers are not really meant for a truck like this. These are strange engineering coilovers for, you know, a hot rod, mild race application, the single adjustable. They're not really designed to carry this much weight. I haven't had too much of an issue with them, besides whenever you got all this unsprung weight and you go over a hill and it bottoms the suspension out or tops the suspension out, it pulls on this rod, and I had one of these rods pull out of the threads down here and it ruined it. Which these are about $180 a piece. They're not cheap, but then again the Fox ones are about 500, or no, let's see, they're $250 per and it's 500 for a set. So I may just pony up and go ahead and grab the Fox shocks. They have a 5/8 rod instead of, I believe that's a 1/2 inch, so they're much more durable for an application like this. And I'm sure the dampener on this deal here is, you know, probably stressed out with all this weight. You know, it's hard for that fluid to be channeled and dampen the suspension whenever you've got this much weight. So we'll see. Probably just set it up like this for now. I've got to figure out the steering stuff, but all in all, it looks pretty good under here. I'll see where it sits whenever I put the tabs on it and lower the truck down. Right now it's sitting very high, which doesn't look terrible. It does look funny with those tires on it, but that's much higher than it, you know, sat originally. But yeah, I'll probably lower it down a good 4 inches. And then, you know, I got it on the stands there, so the back's lifted up as well. So we'll see where it settles down. But so far, it's looking good. So I just got back from the first test drive on the F250 with a tape measure alignment, kind of eyeballed center. It actually drives way better than it did with the twin I-beam setup already without an alignment. So that's very hopeful. Steering's a little kind of on edge, I guess I would say. It's probably because of those tires have kind of worn out because of the old setup, so they got kind of a dip in the sides. So it's probably kind of playing off the center of the tire a little bit. Besides that, like the steering, the radius is a little bit tighter. Whenever you turn, it doesn't lean into it either way. It stays right on top centered. So, I mean, it makes things way better. It doesn't creak or pop or anything like it used to. I've got to get the front drive shaft shortened about 1 inch. And then I've got to service this front differential. I haven't even popped the cover on it, so hopefully everything's still good in there. I know it doesn't have a seal because it was a little bit leaky, and I know they drain it whenever they ship it, so there's nothing in it. So I won't be testing out the four-wheel drive for a little while. Which, I mean, I can turn the pinion by hand, everything turns, it's nice and free, the axles move together and all that, so I'm not really too worried about that. But, so I guess all that's left is to go get an alignment and then paint up the bars and all the components and stuff like that so they don't start rusting. But I think I'm going to call it good. It wasn't awful terribly hard, but it did take longer than I thought. I was thinking, you know, about 2 days or something like that. But after, you know, making all the brackets and kind of fitting everything up, it took about 3.5 days. It was probably 2 days of kind of hard fabrication and, you know, fitting everything together. I mean, I didn't go by any plans or anything like that. I just kind of looked up a few things. I watched a video or two on how to set up like 4-link suspension on a truck like this with 1-ton axles. So I had some guidelines to go by, but I mean, I just kind of thought of the way the brackets, at least the way I thought the bracket should be. I knew the top bar needed to be shorter than the bottom bar, and I wanted to go off the leaf spring mounts that were already there, so those could be removed. And it would also mean that it would be, you know, exactly centered, so I could run same bar length on either side, and then it should be, you know, accurate within a 1/16 or so, you know, inside the factory spec. So, I mean, the only thing that really gave a little bit of trouble was the panhard bar, because you've got to get in there in between the front differential, in between the cross member. You've got to be nice and parallel, or as parallel as you can, with the steering. So it kind of runs uphill, but then you only have, you know, 2 or 3 inches of up and down movement, so there's not a whole lot of room to play with. I made the brackets where there's 3 points of adjustment on either side. On the differential side, the 3 holes are open, but then on the frame side, I'm only able to adjust the 2 slots. So luckily, I was able to use a top slot on the chassis side. Everything seems like there's plenty of clearance. If I need a little bit more clearance, then I'll probably lift the truck maybe 1 inch or 2, just to get a little bit more clearance right there at that panhard bar. Besides that, everything else, I'm looking pretty good. I need to finish bleeding the brakes whenever I get some help doing that. Then that'll be it for now. Got a few more things. Got to fix the radiator on this thing. Got a hole in it. It's got a slow leak. So sitting here for, I think it's been like a month or so. It's leaked about a gallon. So definitely need to pull the radiator and get that fixed. Also, I've never had AC in this truck. It would be nice to have AC, especially when it's so hot out. It's about to cool down, so that's probably a good time to work on stuff like that. Get it ready for next year. Ready to pull that big enclosed trailer and keep everything nice and cool. But that's about it for today. I think I'm going to go home and relax a little bit. Take this thing to the alignment shop some other day.